This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Hello, I'm Chuck Borowitz.
And I'm Joe Natoli, and you are listening to the Hard Volume Experience, where we talk about the soul-crushing, life-changing, ass-kicking power of music.
Buckle up, we're talking about genres we love and celebrating some of our favorite bands, new and old.
We are honored to have you along on this joyride of musical obsession, so without further ado, let's get to it.
And welcome back to the Hard Volume Experience podcast, the show that likes its coffee just like it likes its t-shirts, black. I'm Borowitz, and with me as always is the general of the Hard Volume Army of Sonic Worship, Mr. Joe Natoli. How are you doing, Joe?
Doing good, Chuck. How are you?
Good, man. I got to see one of my bucket list bands the other day, Virginia Tech, about an hour away from where I live. Lane Stadium played its first and possibly only metal show with Suicidal Tendencies, Pantera, with filling in for Dimebag Darrell was Zakk Wylde, and of course the Kings, Metallica.
What a bill.
What a bill indeed. And yeah, you should have seen the bill for the tickets, but boom.
I like that. I like that. That's nice. You been practicing that?
No, that was off the cuff. I'm very proud of myself. Probably tell I'm beaming, but
You are beaming.
I am beaming. It might be the heat because it's very hot here. But they play to what I would call a capacity crowd. Seating wise, it's 65,000 plus. Count whatever was on the floor. I'm going to say they played to roughly about 70,000 people that night. So when they played Enter Sandman, which is like their football team's theme song for the past 25 years, it made a small earthquake, but respectable. 1.5 seismic activity, whatever, the Richter scale.
From a metal show.
From a metal show.
From the reaction of human beings. I mean, this is awesome. Yeah. And you were there to witness it.
I was there. I jumped around, and all of a sudden
you helped create it, as a matter of fact.
I was like, did that. I told my wife was there too. I said, we did that. She's like, well, Metallica did that. And I said, no, they said we're all family now.
And we did it.
We did it together.
Yeah.
That earthquake.
Yeah, don't be diminishing people's accomplishments.
So that's what I did. And I'm old. I'm old, man, because I felt.
Why do you say that?
Because I felt it the next day. We did this before my wife and I had kids. We went to go see Foo Fighters play. And we were like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And we sat in the nosebleeds. And then we had a 3-hour drive back. And the next day we were like, oh, we're the people that time forgot. We hurt so bad. We're so sorry, bodies. And then, 2 kids later, and we decided we're going to go do this again. But it was only like an hour drive back for us. And I'm old, man.
Same difference. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How about standing venues? All right, because you guys were seated, right?
We were seated for Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera. And then all the people who thought they were too cool for the other 2 bands came in and then filled up the seats. And we were sitting next to some friends of ours, but they weren't like our seats. And they're like, excuse me, you're in our seats. And we're like, okay, we'll move. And we had absolutely no leg room. Yeah, just like your expression was everything with just like, oh my God, we're even here. And then just looking at the same people and the people in front of us who had like slightly better seats. Otherwise, you're sitting on your hands, you're looking at your phones, like you don't deserve to be here.
That's right, damn it.
That's my childhood. Thanks for being my therapist, Papa Joe.
You're welcome. That shit pisses me off to know that. Like, you don't even know why you're here.
Yeah.
People. But like you were saying about, stamina, like for example, standing shows where you're on your feet the whole time. And that's become a thing for me. I hate to say that. When you and I went to see Slift.
Yes.
Right. You're excited the whole time. And you're like, this is awesome. And then by the time you hit your bed, your body's going, you know what? You. And then the next day it's like, 5 middle fingers. It's just different, man.
Yeah.
And especially at my advanced age, 56 is a whole different deal, brother. It's middle fingers all the time.
Middle fingers all the time. Yeah, I mean, I was a little sore after all the standing time too, and you were there. You know, I got pushed into the ground, and
Troublemaker.
I was like, I'm actually really happy about the break because my legs were so sore from standing. Feels kind of nice to sit. I'm just gonna sit in this for a while, and I'll get back up in a second.
No, it's good. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's good. This is nice. I went to standing room small show for Green Lungs during their first tour.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, standing room only. And I thought, man, I'm doing so great. Like, I was kind of worried about standing for so long because they tell you when you buy the tickets, like, this place is standing room only. There's no seats. I was like, I'll be fine. Because in my head, I'm 20.
Yeah.
And I get there and I'm going through the whole show. And I think about when it happened, there was 3 songs left in the set. But all of a sudden I was like, I feel really lightheaded. I don't feel so great. And I just immediately like looked for a seat in the corner and there was one open and I just went and I grabbed it and I sat out the rest of the show. But, you know, holding up my horns the whole time.
Right. Oh, I'm with you in spirit.
In spirit. I'm back here.
From over here. Oh, brother. The things we do.
Any local shows or exciting albums that you've run across since we talked last?
No, I mean, local venues haven't really had much, I guess, that I'm either excited about or interested in. Music, I've actually been, I sent you that My Sleeping Karma thing the other day.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon them after I was listening to, I was listening to Cosmodrome, and then it somehow fed that in there. I'm like, okay, these guys are pretty cool. And that was a live recording, so it was kind of extra special. But mostly this week, I've been going backwards. It's all been older stuff. And it's been a lot of jazz, to be honest. That Vince Guaraldi Record Store Day thing that we were talking about, that release that came out. No, but it led me backwards into, like, you know what? I want to check out not just the Peanuts stuff that Guaraldi did, but all his entire catalog, which I have never.
Quartet to the Trio.
Yeah, I've never really dug into it. So I've been doing that. Like, I was listening to Jazz Impressions of Black Orpheus today, and I dig it, man. I love everything about that guy's style. Something he does is so human. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just there's so much warmth and emotion in it. He just has a touch that a lot of players don't have. I don't know how to describe it. So that's been my week. How about you?
Oh man, my ears are recovering still.
What?
Yeah, that's me on a regular basis. You know, man.
Huh?
Gosh, yeah, just a lot of Metallica off and on to like refamiliarize myself with a lot of the songs, because for some of the albums, it's been a while.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of right now is like all the superhero songs that my son wants to hear. Like it's John Williams fest.
Nice.
We play like the essentials list from our streaming service, like John Williams essentials. But then like we get the songs like Schindler's List or Jaws or whatever's gonna freak them out. And we're like, maybe time to make our own John Williams playlist. But the dude's a national treasure. He's such a big part of my childhood. I can't think of any of the big 80s movies that I still love to this day that he hasn't been a part of. So, and Raiders of the Lost Ark still my favorite. My favorite one, even though Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory ruined it for everybody. It's still a great movie.
Yeah, that Williams was a force of nature, a entity unto himself, I think. I don't know that anyone has equaled that kind of, Hans Zimmer maybe. But man, that guy's output was just tremendous.
Yeah, it still makes an impact today. I think James Gunn did it right with the new trailers where they're paying homage to John Williams' score.
Very much.
That's what I'd like to hear. I'm not saying that's the right or wrong way to do something, because this topic can be very divisive for people who are watching, but I liked it. Which
I don't understand, because it's a different take to me, right? It's a different way of talking about the mythology and the character and the hero and presenting it. It's just a different take. Like, yeah. I loved the gritty, realistic Justice League movie. I really dug that. At the same time, I like what I see in these trailers so far.
Yeah,
throw back to the Christopher Reeve movies in a way.
Yeah, I dig all the different styles through the comics. Like, I like I like the Frank Miller stuff,
Yeah.
but I like All-Star Superman too. So, there's definitely a tonal shift in both of those, but take your stories. It's a multiverse.
Yeah, I think it's all valid.
Yeah.
So what are we doing today, Chuck?
I've been thinking about getting stranded, and I'm going to pull you in with me, I think. How do you feel about getting stranded on a desert island with me, Joe?
Do I have to answer that?
No, but I would like us to talk about what albums we might bring.
I would be honored to be stranded on a desert island with you, sir.
All right. Hopefully there's a record player there, because most of this is going to be
Otherwise, we're
yeah. We'll be spinning rocks or something and pretending they're records.
no. If you carve grooves in this, it'll work.
Did it.
Yeah, right.
All right. So I've got some rando picks. We listen to a lot of different stuff here, but I'm just going to take off the top of the pile and go through a couple things here. But the first pick I would take with me is this guy, Power Slave.
Mhm.
We've talked about this album in the past. Go watch episode 1 for that. But Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner still kind of kicks butt. And if I'm out like in the wilds and need a little time to decompress, this is the album that I'm going to do that with.
Tremendous. Not a bad song on it.
No.
And a cinematic adventure, in and of itself. What a pick. See, how do you lead off with something like that? And I'm supposed to follow you. I mean, that's
I could do another one if it helps you.
Yeah.
I'll do a two. I'll do a twofer.
Cool.
These guys have to come
right. Right.
I gotta have. For some reason, there are those albums that I have to listen to back to back, and this is 2 of those albums. Like, if I start Highway to Hell, I have to end it with Back in Black. I just do. I don't know why they go together.
It's the law. That's why.
Is that why?
Yes. I mean, when you showed them both, it was the first thought in my head. Exactly. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Certain records are just like that. They're just like that. As a matter of fact, these 2 are just like that. This one and this one.
Yeah, those have to go
Heaven
together.
and Hell and Mob Rules. I mean, just like
2 of something.
Just like your AC/DC thing, I cannot. If I go to Heaven and Hell, I've got to hear Mob Rules after it. It's a thing. Like, they're pairs.
I think the big question I would have about that, of the 2, whose copy of Heaven and Hell are we bringing? Yours or mine?
Let's see. Is yours 180 grams?
Mine is 180 gram.
Then we're bringing yours.
Remastered. Includes bonus LP of rarities and live versions. So
we're definitely bringing yours.
Okay, we're bringing mine.
That's not even a question.
Okay.
I have a very nice copy over there, but it's not that copy.
That's fine.
Heaven and Hell is a double 180, so it's got some nice extras.
What else you got?
This was actually the first one when you mentioned this. This was the first thing I grabbed instinctively. This Love Supreme was, and I know it's cliche, right? Because everybody cites this Coltrane record as their holy grail, but I mean, I think that's a testament to the work itself.
Yeah.
It's a life-changing experience. The first time I heard it, I mean, I was emotionally moved in a way that I don't know that I can describe, because it wasn't any specific emotion either. It was just like the air changed. You know what I mean? Like the world shifted on its axis a little bit. You feel like you had a greater sense of something. I don't know how to describe it. And that record, every single time I listen to it, does that to me. It's just pure bliss. It takes me to someplace beautiful. It expands the world around me in just absolutely wonderful ways.
Nice. Colors look a little more vibrant, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the old pile.
Dun, 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 dun.
Here's one.
Oh,
2020s.
And if I had it, I would be in this pile.
I set myself a challenge. Is it Ilium or Uman? And I went with Uman because
It's Uman.
I think, I'm not saying it's better, but I'm not saying that it's the first part of a 2-part story.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that. I'd make a great politician. I'll never give you a straight answer when it comes to important things.
It's pretty impressive. I'd vote for you, actually. You know, that record, and for me at least, the reason like I said, when I looked at my pile, I have Ileana and I have Levitation Sessions, but I don't have that. And that's the one I wanted. And the reason is, again, that was the experience. The first time that you told me about them, and that was the record. And again, the air shifted.
I didn't know what I was going to hear, but I was in, like I am with a lot, with just the artwork. Sorry that I'm getting so much ring light.
That's all right. It's good.
But the fact that the dude looks like he's the Silver Surfer, it looks so cosmic. I was like, oh, I'm in. Like, I don't know what's going on.
It's got to be good.
Yes, but he's carrying a big sword, and this thing is just awesome. It's awesome.
It's got to be good. Gotta be good. So did you buy that did you buy it based on the cover alone?
No, I listen based on the cover alone, and then like I'll go stream things first. So
I gotcha.
Unless I get a recommendation from somebody that we know about a new album, it's looking like, oh, that's cool. I'll go check that out. And then just right from the get-go, that first song just kicks so much ass. So yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to belabor it, but that's one of those records I remember exactly where I was listening to it, because I was in the dark on the couch in my living room towards the front of my house with headphones on and in total darkness. And it was like, just mind expanding, you know? Like, oh my God.
What do we do? Where's the light switch?
I don't even know where I am right now.
No, it's that kind of album. It is. Yeah, from the get-go. And then we see them live and we're like, oh, this is crazy. This is really crazy.
Absolutely. This is probably one of the top 3 shows I've ever seen, without question.
I'm glad I was there with you for that.
Me too, man.
Top shows.
Let's see what we got here. Let's go with this, because there is metal in this pile, but I have to give this one
a
shout out.
Yeah.
This, and I had funny because I had Born to Run first when I was in high school, and it affected me, certainly, right? I mean, all his music really affected me, but this one in particular, man, when I heard this record, I felt understood. Okay, in a way that aside from like some of the metal things that we've talked about in the past, this just hit home on any number of levels. Small town, surrounded by people who were kind of, I don't want to say narrow-minded, but didn't quite know what to do with a sensitive artist kid. I was a bit of a freak in my hometown. Didn't really fit in socially. Didn't really, belong to any groups, because I sort of didn't belong to any of them. And I just kind of felt like, well, everything's cool. Why can't we all just whatever? So like he describes his childhood too. I felt like I was on the outside looking in a lot. And this record is filled with that. And man, what a gift to listen to something and that makes you feel like I'm not the only one. Like this guy gets it. I mean, what a thing. What a powerful thing that is. And to this day, never fails to move me. Never fails to move me. And his guitar playing on that record as well is fierce as shit. People forget that this guy's an amazing guitar player, great lead guitar player.
I never think of him as a guitarist.
No.
Ever.
His leads are screaming fierce. He can squeeze more out of one note than most guys can say in a flurry of notes. It's just tortured. Like it's the volume, the amplification, the way he bends a string is forceful in a way that a lot of people don't do. I don't know how else to describe it. But yeah, that one definitely.
Can you tell me how he got his nickname?
The Boss?
Yeah.
It was given to him, actually. He didn't like it, and he hated it for years and years and years and years and years. And he hated that the public called him that. It started because his crew and his bandmates started calling him that. Because he was, technically. I mean, he was, paying everybody's checks.
Signing the checks.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And then it just sort of expanded from there. People who were hung around them started calling him that. And the story is for years, he just absolutely hated it. Because it was like, I'm not anybody's. Yeah. He was always uncomfortable with that kind of stuff, but it's not a bad title. I mean, think about it.
That's the thing about nicknames. Like when they're like a real nickname, you don't get to pick them. Somebody
Yeah.
else stows that onto you.
Yep. My grandfather was a big nickname guy. Everybody had a nickname. Nobody had a real name. Everybody was like, I'm trying to think, like there's Jumbo, Beak, Speens. I was Joe Blow from Kokomo all the time.
Nice.
Hey, Joe Blow from Kokomo. Like I might as well just change my birth certificate at this point.
I would have meet the rest of your family. That's awesome.
They're fucking characters.
Here comes Big Chuck. Yep.
Exact. No, you'd have a nickname in 10 seconds. I'm telling you.
Well, in the spirit of when you listen to an artist who feels like they get you, I feel like this guy gets a lot of people. This dude, this one, Greatest Hits in particular, was a lifesaver for me. I was going through a bad time, and man, this thing lifted me up. I would go on super long walks. I was probably doing 10 miles a day, just wearing out the soles of my shoes, just walking everywhere. And, you know, walking downtown through the streets and over bridges and stuff, and just Al Green in my ear the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, man, I am tired of being alone.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get married. If I find her, yeah, I'll see if she wants to get married, because it's all about love and happiness. I'm sorry, I'm just reading all the
man,
but it's tying together so well.
Love and happiness
that this thing draws from are just, I could have brought them all up and talked to you about like all of them with the songs in their entirety and not just the best ofs, because like in general, I'm really snobby about a compilation album. Like I'm like, well, why don't you just get the whole thing? I don't really do but this one was the exception, because it just was at the right place at the right time in my life to come along and scoop me up. So this is definitely, I think before anything else, if I only got one, it actually might be this one. It's not like the Rev isn't my favorite go-to of all time, but when I need him, he is always there.
Powerful stuff. And despite your prejudice to compilations, it looks like one may have just saved your life, Cap.
Yeah. Shows what I know.
Well, how the hell do I respond to that? That's absolutely fantastic.
You just do.
Well, in similar fashion, and this is actually another twofer, because now I've never been able to separate these two records either. In similar fashion, and you and I have had this conversation about this very band in great detail when we were talking about our origins in a prior conversation. This here, another massive, life-changing record. Stand Up For Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Screaming for Vengeance. Are you kidding me? You got another thing coming? Are you kidding me? Riding on the Wind. Like, yeah, I'm riding on the wind. Like, yeah. Okay. But I mean, just confidence and power, like out of nowhere, right? You think you could take on the entire universe. And
you do album. You do think that.
Right? I mean, that's how it is. And then they follow it up with this, Defenders of the Faith. Like, comes smoking out of the gate, right? With two killers, Free Will Burning the Jawbreaker, and The Sentinel is my favorite track on this record. Just talk about, it's like this cinematic kind of thing where you imagine it's like the dark, lonely street and the some kind of tough guy who takes on all these gang members or whatever that come out to kick his ass, and he's throwing knives and he wastes all of them. It's just, I don't know. It's all there. All your imagined life as I'm a giant kicking ass throughout the world kind of thing. It just all comes to life, and that was confidence I didn't have at that age. But again, there's something about this music and these two records made me feel like, yeah.
That is such a 1-2 punch. And it's not like they didn't have a string of hit albums before that. I mean, Sad Wings of Destiny is probably one of my favorite albums ever. And I mean, when you in that kind of succession where they just have hit after hit after hit, there's a certain point where you just are like, I'm in, and this band will never steer me wrong.
That's right.
That's
that entire sequence. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I can't remember what came before what, but there was Sad Wings of Destiny. Sin After Sin is a great album. British Steel, obviously, flawless all the way through. Point of Entry was like a couple good songs. Some of it was iffy. But then these two records, Scream for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith, like, come on. I mean, those albums would all be in this pile, really, if we wanted to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
Because they're all just stellar. First time I ever heard Halford's voice, I was sold instantly. Like, sign me up. I'm in. I don't care what happens here. Like, I'm in.
And yet he's impresses that many people, and he earned the title Metal God for a reason. But on the last album, there's a song on there, Giants in the Sky, where he's paying homage to Lemmy and Dio.
Yeah.
And he talks about, like, he never felt like he was in the same league with those guys. And it's amazing because I can't believe that. I'm like, I mean, that's good. I mean, humility like that is good, keeps you human. But I think to the rest of the world, like, he's right up there.
Yeah. And he's, and humble is the right word. When I interviewed him years back, and one of the things he told me, he said he hates the sound of his own voice, like listening to it on record. I said, well, how do you decide when you do multiple takes? Like, how do you decide what you want to keep? He goes, I can't. I let the producer decide, which is like, he's like, someone else has to decide. I can't, which is crazy to me to have a gift like that, an instrument like that, and not see it. I mean, that's something else.
Yeah. That exists though. I have that. When I watch the playbacks from this show, I can't see the way I sound. So they're with you, Rob, in a much lower capacity. Anyway, about the same time that I was listening to a lot of Al Green, I was also into MF Doom.
MF Doom.
Now, this is the re-release.
Nice.
And this got me out of nowhere. I was at a conference and this was playing over the speakers. I think Rap Snitch Kniches was playing. And yeah, I just got blindsided. I forgot why I was there, what I was supposed to be doing. I just have this moment where my head kind of tilts up. I'm like, oh, what is that? And I'm hooked on everything he does. I don't have a lot in my collection yet from him, but someday I'll have all the things from MF Doom. But the way he samples from the old Marvel cartoons was so unexpected to me, because the kind of music like this that I heard in my very white and rural upbringing was nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
So this branched into something that I was more familiar with and kind of morphed my take on that. And, you know, it expands my worldview a little bit, where I'm like, oh man, I never thought about how those old things that I enjoyed, like these old TV shows, were witnessed by way more people than I thought, and how it's influenced them too. And then to see it, you know, come back into the social mix and in the music was really cool thing. But everything in here about like Dr. Doom or the Fantastic Four or all those Hanna-Barbera sounds that come back into this are really cool and special, and then made very contemporary for me with this album. So this is a must-have on the desert island.
Nice. I mean, like you said, what a cool thing when all that stuff. Again, because you feel like you're the only one. Like I'm, like me and a couple people I know are the only people who are really into this stuff. And then you see it reflected back on a huge cultural level like that, and you're like, holy shit! Like, this is everybody. I
didn't know you guys were watching that.
Yeah, it's a movement. You know, that's incredible. Awesome. So let's see. I think where I want to go, and this is sort of cheating because it's a new version of this.
It's not cheating. I had a remaster.
Do you?
Yeah, I had a remaster a little while ago. How was that cheating?
Plus, I think I had to get a Steven Wilson something in here. His remixes are so unbelievably good. Like I worship at that altar unabashedly. But yes, was one of those bands. Growing up, I had an uncle, my cousin's father, Uncle Phil, who was the coolest person when I was a kid, especially. He was like the coolest person in the universe because he listened to hard rock music He was kind of like a ex-hippie who was just like totally into, just did his own thing, man. And just went about life his own way. If you came to their house, I probably told this story before, but when you hit the block that the house was on, you could hear the stereo from the end of the block. And that's because it was insanely loud at all times. And the windows, they had basement windows that were at ground level, and all the basement windows would be open. So it was just extending out into the neighborhood. And that wasn't like a one time, that was how he lived. I mean, that was just constant. Or if you rode in a car with him anywhere, it was like massive music. So anyway, he was is a huge Yes fan. And I heard this record, the very first album, at his house. And the thing that nailed me was Chris Squire. You know, bass guitar is a lead instrument. It was so loud and so present in the mix, and that tone is like nothing else. And I was like you just described with hearing MF Doom, like,
Yeah.
the world stopped. Like, what the hell is that? And now I want to go sit next to the speaker because I don't give a shit what's going on anywhere. I just want to sit here and listen to the rest of this. Like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, the way that dude played, I would give my left arm to be able to play like that, which if I did that, I couldn't play like that. But you get the idea.
Yeah.
Timeless. And lots of their albums are. So, but that one definitely had to make the pile because that was pivotal. That's why I picked up the bass.
Oh, okay. Things I did not know about you. That's a good reason to pick up a bass.
Yeah, Chris Squire was first, and then tie between Gene Simmons and Geezer Butler. Because I've always liked the way that Gene Simmons plays bass as well, even though a lot of their songs are wacky and goofy.
Another reason to pick up the bass. This is why I picked up the bass.
Oh my God. Is there a better reason?
Yours is a good reason, man. It might be a better reason than mine. But man, happy 50th to Motorhead. Rest in peace, Lemmy. This thing, I don't know if it's my favorite one. I tend to shy away from saying that the most commercially acceptable album from a band is my favorite one because maybe I think it makes me like look like I'm posh or something. But Ace of Spades has got it in spades.
Yeah.
It's just such a great album. And even they'll say like Overkill was a really good album, but it was missing something. And I think whatever that missing component was, like
It's here.
Fast Eddie, Filthy Phil, and Lemmy found it in Ace of Spades. So this is truly a terrific album. And while their sound had kind of changed, you know, through Another Perfect Day and Sacrifice, and then through I don't know if you call it, this is the golden age, maybe the more contemporary age.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it changed again, but at the core of it was still Lemmy and his bass playing, and that I never thought it would end. I really didn't. It just This is timeless rock to me. I think this is something that everybody has to have in their collection.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. I mean, that record is a game changer, and it is like nothing else. That band was like nothing else. I mean, to me, Motorhead is one of those bands that has no peer. They're their own unique cement chunk of music. There's nothing like that band. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And like you said, I thought you thought Lemmy would live forever. You know, I mean, like you wake up and it's Tuesday and there's Lemmy.
You get so much off of that, like historically, how all bands kind of like branch off of what they listen to. This isn't going to show up over the recording very well at all, but
Black Album, sure.
Metallica self-titled, this thing, that band is born out of their love for the bands we just talked about, Motorhead and Priest.
Yep.
And you know, they took that and they refined the formula a little bit. Maiden too, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then perfected it. I mean, that album, that's a high watermark, that record, without question. I mean, and much like we talked about the Cult before, right? And what Bob Rock did for them.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I think Bob Rock made Metallica sound like they deserved to sound, in my opinion.
In retrospect, it's weird that they got as much hate as they did for that sound, when even in those earlier albums, I think especially Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, that's classical music.
Agreed.
You're just kind of pulling out what's already there and just bringing it a little more forward.
Yeah, I mean, rock made, for example, Sad But True, the riff in Sad But True, that's one of the heaviest things ever recorded. And he gave it the life that it deserves. It is fucking massive. I mean, the bottom end is huge. It's earth shaking. I mean, that's how that deserves to sound. So I didn't get the hate at the time, and I don't get it now. You know, this is
like we haven't heard older bands than that pull from the classical genre. I mean, Smoke on the Water is a reversal of a classical theme whose composer I just escapes me at the moment, but these things aren't new. It all comes from somewhere.
Yeah, and not to belabor this, but people also gave Metallica shit for the songs on that record because they were somehow simpler or more commercial or whatever. Like what everybody lost sight of. Go back and listen to Kill 'Em All and Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. These guys were great songwriters. They wrote great, catchy, hooky music. Was it fierce and aggressive as hell? Yes. But they wrote damn good songs. They were always capable of that. Those elements were always present in their music and still are, quite frankly. So don't be messing with Metallica, all you critics out there. Since we're talking metal, this
nice album we can never play on our show.
Right. Damn it, Sharon.
Sharon!
Again, kind of pivotal, but the album cover itself was pivotal for me because I was a horror movie kid, right? I dug movie monsters. I dug that whole genre. Halloween was my favorite, holidays. Loved creepy, spooky stuff. And like, here's this guy who's looks creepy and spooky. Like, hey, I'm in. And I had heard Sabbath before that, which was the precursor to, I was also creepy and spooky. So then when I realized it was the same guy, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this. And I got this before Blizzard of Oz, which actually came first. But again, from the drums over the mountain to, of course, Randy Rhoads playing, just the way his guitar is tracked, the way Ozzy's voice sounds. I mean, his voice sounds like no other. He is another guy. It's just incredibly unique. I mean, nobody sounds like Ozzy remotely, in a million years. So everything about this record, from the flat out just smoking musicianship to even the variety of songs. I mean, as soft as it gets to as hard and aggressive as it gets to the sort of cinematic, spooky quality of like the title track, Diary of a Madman, to me, it's a perfect record. It really is. So, and again, it's one of those pivotal moments where it's like, this is cool. And whatever it is, I have to have more of it.
Yeah, I think it would pair really well with Paranoid. So we'll bring that too.
Very nice.
And the thing about Ozzy is that makes me sad is that guy can't pass the torch to anybody.
Yeah.
Because he is uncopyable.
Yeah.
There's never going to be another dude like him. And that's probably the biggest compliment I could give him, is just say, like, you're unique and nobody's ever going to be able to do it like you did.
I honestly, God, I just got chills. And I got a little bit choked up when you said that. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, that last show is coming up.
I mean, when he goes, it's going to be the end of something, like Lemmy was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're still celebrating Lemmy, and I don't want to talk about it that way because Ozzy's still here. So let's just.
Yeah. Damn it. Double shot of Ozzy. Okay, so since we're talking about Ozzy, I always felt like this dude was always in that same conversation as well. But, if there was a Sabbath connection or whatever. And I am somewhat cheating because this is 2 live sets from 1983 and 1987, respectively.
Hold up. Is it a single album?
It is not.
It's 2 albums?
Yes, it is.
What do you mean it's 2 albums? Did that get sold to you as 2 different albums or just as a double LP?
No, it's a double LP. Why?
It's 1 album. It's not cheating.
Oh, okay.
Go tell your story.
Anyway, well, the reason I thought it was cheating is because it covers his entire career. Like, there's Rainbow stuff on here. There's Sabbath stuff on here. There's Dio solo stuff on here. It's like a discography in, 2 records.
So that's like me saying you could only count an album if they do the whole thing in 30 minutes in one location.
Has anyone ever done that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that, but yes.
Wow. Okay, that's nuts.
Not 30 minutes, not or your pizza's free kind of thing. But somebody like knocked it out in like 3 days.
Well, now I don't want to know. I thought maybe there was a reward at the end of this, but
the reward is just the conversation. So
okay, fine.
Looking for more than that.
Fine. Excuse me for wanting more. We're dorks. Anyway, you got to throw the horns up with Dio. Dio was another one of those guys, like just like the Priest stuff, right? You listen to Dio's voice and you're like, I could rule the world. It's entirely possible. And I would
ride those coattails all the way down the dragon.
That's right. And I'm short like he is. So
you listen to him and you forget all about somebody's like physical stature because he's just massive. And what I love so much about Dio is that he sounds just as awesome live as he does in any of the studio.
Yep.
What a talented dude he was. And nice, just such a cool guy, a gentleman up on stage when he talked to the crowd. Like he knew he was lucky, I think. And he put in the work.
And it was effortless. I mean, his voice was effortless. When I saw him on the last tour that he did with Heaven and Hell, and that was the same show they were opening for Priest. So that was the same show I interviewed Rob. So we were in the pit, like next to the stage. And what was amazing, I know I've said this before, but I have to say it like in his honor. You could hear him singing above the PA, if that makes any sense. Like you could hear his voice in the air louder than the amplification that was coming from all that. It was just the strangest thing. Like, holy shit, is he loud?
Yeah.
And it looked effortless. Like he wasn't straining, he wasn't working hard. Like it was just this natural thing that he did, just like breathing.
It's scary, like a cheesy horror movie where they're like, the call's coming from inside of the house. Like the extra thing you hear is coming from inside of Dio.
Exactly. Something weird's going on here, man.
What's happening?
Where's that?
Sticking an amplifier on a natural amplifier.
Exactly. What else you got in your pile there?
Yeah, I'm gonna flip the script on this one today. A little bit of hometown flair. Gotta put in some Gordon Lightfoot. I got some Gord's Gold. Mr. I don't like compilation albums has a second compilation album.
If you could read my mind, Chuck.
I saw what you did there. I approve. I approve.
The minute I did, I wished I hadn't.
But I'm glad you did.
What a tale my thoughts would tell. Anyway.
Goodness sakes. I'm looking to see if my favorite song of all time is actually on this one. And I don't think it is. But it's the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Somehow I knew that's what it was. I don't even know how. I swear to you. As soon as you said my favorite song, I'm like, I know it's that song.
Because I always felt like it would translate so well to a heavy metal song. Like if somebody did it slow and loud.
Totally.
It would be so cool. And it's the only song that rhymes, that makes a rhyme with Gitchy Gumi. But it's a throwback to home. I just remember a lot of Gordon Lightfoot being played. And so
a word you don't hear every day.
Got a lot of awesome indigenous words up for it where I'm from.
I dig it, man. I dig it.
All the tribes that were there. So yeah, it's good stuff. Lots to learn if you're open to it.
And I gotta say, man, I always really liked that guy. I mean, incredibly talented songwriter. His voice is amazing. Amazing. I mean, you're one out of every 8 million people is blessed with a voice that is within, I don't know, 10 million miles of that voice.
Yeah.
Awesome pick. Awesome pick.
What you got, man? I'm going to rifle through some of my other ones to do some.
This is a cheat too, but not for the same reasons, in that it's physical, but not physical, because I never had this on vinyl, but I have the flat.
I really got my hopes up. I'm like, somebody I know has this record.
Right. At least, I mean, I got this when it came out from the store because I had heard it and I had the CD, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, man, dude, first time I heard Rollins Band, again, sold. I'm in.
Yeah.
This guy is somehow incredibly sort of kick-ass powerful and navigating life, with this fierce intensity and will and strength, and at the same time is openly on his sleeve just laying out the same fears and insecurities and quirks, damage, whatever that we all have. So it's imperfect and perfect at the same time. And I think that was the first time I ever heard loud, intense, heavy music be that outwardly, I don't know what the word is, just emotionally honest.
The thing that gets me is, can I see the flat again? This typography on it. Yeah. This record refuses to be obscure, is what it says. If you want peace and quiet, don't play this. Silence sucks. That's the thing. Unless I'm getting the meaning of obscure wrong for some reason, these are albums you cannot find in a physical format. Maybe you could find it on CD. So maybe I'm a little biased with my vinyl obsession, but I will go to used stores. Mm-hmm. They don't have it. Go to an auction. They don't have it.
Yep.
Cannot find this man's albums anywhere on vinyl. And
nope.
And this is why. I'm gonna tell you why. They are the best cars on the lot. They're the best cars that you can buy to drive around, because you're never going to find one in the used lot, because nobody's ever going to get rid of it, and you're going to drive that thing forever.
Yep.
If anybody finds any of those in physical format and anybody's selling them for a reasonable price, not these jokers on Discogs who are like, yeah, I'll sell that to you for, $300-$400.
Yeah.
Let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know where you found it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm lucky to have a couple. I've got Hot Animal Machine, Hard Volume, Lifetime, and Nice on, which is double vinyl. But you're right. I mean, I got lucky with those. I think Discord has, I think they're re-releasing Lifetime. I want to say, I'm not sure, but there are all kinds of convoluted things that happen with the rights to these records. He was on like 4 different labels. Mm-hmm. And like the masters and everything else, there was just a bunch of things that happened. And I wish he would press them on vinyl, because I think he at this point he owns the rights to all these masters. I really wish he would. But you put it perfectly. It's the best cars on a lot.
They are. I've got a couple more here.
Go for it.
I'm going to throw in another 2 for. So the first one I own in 2 formats, so we can take whichever one. But the first one is Nirvana Unplugged. That's a must-have.
Yeah. Excellent.
That's history, and I was obsessed with them. But the other one that I always want to play before or after whatever one I'm playing through first, I have to get to the other one. But I've also owned this on every format, cassette included at one point in time. I think I've owned those on everything except for 8-track.
I knew there was going to be a Breeders record in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, I love Last Splash. I'm actually not huge on the rest of the Deal Sisters stuff. I like them a lot, but something about Last Splash. Maybe it was just a really good day for the band and Steve Albini. But yeah, it's an awesome album. And then I'm gonna throw in, this isn't a part of a 2 for anything, but just something that I would probably like have as a chaser to that. This one never gets old for me.
Great record.
This is a perfect album. It is a perfect album. There's a slow song on it, but everybody's going to mosh to it anyway.
Masterful. Green Day is masterful. Okay. And that record is an exercise in great songwriting.
Yeah.
Punk or not, right? Fast and Loud or not. It is an exercise in great songwriting from every possible angle. These guys are so good. Just ridiculously good. So, Chuck, I'm going to throw one more physical item in the mix, and it's another Rollins Band record. This happens to be a bootleg from St. Andrews Hall. It's a live recording.
Okay.
Online, you'll often, and it's red vinyl, which is nice, and it is often referred to online as Mr. Personality, because at one point he calls out this guy in the crowd. He's like, hey, you, Mr. Personality with all the tattoos. We all see your tattoos. They're very nice. Now sit the fuck down or something. He was harassing. This guy was harassing people in the crowd.
Okay.
So Henry called him out. But for some reason, this particular recording become known in like bootleg circles as Mr. Personality.
The personality. That's awesome. Henry's one of the like most straight edge dudes out there too.
Yeah, this was 92. All right, so they were at the height of their powers. This is when Andrew Weiss was still in the band, the bass player, and just these monster excursions in heavy psych jazz freakouts. I mean, songs that are like 7 minutes long where he's like howling into the microphone like some broken ghost. I don't know. It's an intense record. And the power and ferocity of that band is on full display. It's just one of the best live records I've ever heard. I have to make you a copy of it.
I won't say no, man. That sounds awesome, especially with that lineup.
Yeah. Unmatched. Now what?
Now what? Yeah, I got a couple more. I'll try to wrap my end up here. I got 3 more.
Nice.
Real quick, like King Buffalo, Longing to Be the Mountain. I've got everything, almost everything. I've almost got all the live shows too. I'm missing like one of the live albums, but I love King Buffalo so much. And my thanks to, I think it was LV on Blue Sky who introduced me. He's literally,
and you introduced me in turn, and that's eternal gratitude. What a fantastic band.
they're so good. And they change it up a little bit on every album. It's essentially the same, but there's, I don't know, I most of it is still so new to me that I still can't like extract what it is that they're doing different on each one, but it works for the theme of each album, and it ties in so well to the artwork on the cover. And it's like, do you guys ever make a mistake like human? And then because we were talking about Metallica earlier, I wish I had this one on vinyl, but the first S&M, which kind of like, it's like proof, like, oh yeah, it really does work with classical music because it is classical music.
Exactly right. Exactly right. What a combination of all the bands that should have done a symphony album. Definitely them.
Yeah. And then my last one, and maybe a little bit subconsciously picked last because it's an album I always forget about. And then I was like, oh man, I should listen to this today. This album's really great. And then I immediately like get on my socials and be like, hey, this is your annual reminder that Soundgarden Super Unknown still holds up. It's a really good album. That concludes my desert island picks, Joe.
I tell you what, we're in really good shape here.
Yeah, man.
And I'm going to add two more records to the mix, but I don't have either of them in physical format. There are 2 records by Brian Blade and the Fellowship Band, just instrumental jazz.
Yeah.
The 2 records are Landmarks and Body and Soul. They are unlike any other jazz record I've ever heard. They do something that is, I don't know even how to put it. Like jazz is jazz, but these are more like songs in a way. Like there's aspects of like Americana that wind their way into these songs, that they're memorable and grab you emotionally in a way that's very different than most jazz. I really don't know how to describe it. I just know that I had an.
Can you help me break down one part of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said like songs are songs, and you were riffing off of like it's jazz, but it's got like a different kind of format than what you feel like is usually associated with jazz. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, I mean it's
sorry, I just want to be on the same page.
By sound, it's easily identifiable as jazz. I mean, it's obvious in the compositions, and there are certain ways that the musicians play and the horns and everything. But it's structured in a way that is really, really unique, and it blends influences from other genres and not in a way that's obvious. It's its own unique thing. Like we were talking about how Motorhead is a unique thing in the world, right? Or Ozzy's voice is a unique thing in the world. It's like that to me. When I first heard both of these things, I had MP3 versions of both. And this is before I subscribed to any streaming service. Every device that I had, every phone that I had up to that point, every laptop, every computer had to have a copy of both records on it at all times.
Yeah.
Like it was a thing. Like I cannot go anywhere without these 2 albums. So they're indelible to me. And just like having them on the phone at all times, like they have to go with me wherever I go. So they're coming to the island.
Nice. I think one of the things I was kicking around that I would not force us to do was like out of that list, if you had to do a mix, what would be on that? But
Ooh.
given I don't want to, here's why I don't want to go there. I don't want to challenge us to do that because we don't have all night. But the second reason is I think the way we both kind of like track with the songs that we listen to is it's always expansive. Like it's like I always want one more. Like, well, we can bring in one more. So I think to ask us to like pare down from all the stuff we just mentioned and make like a 12-track playlist would be damn near impossible.
Impossible.
So even try it.
Absolutely impossible. Because when you hear the end of one song, you're going to go like, oh, you know what would go perfect after this? And you're going to reach for something else. And that's going to go on forever, for hours.
Yeah. I mean, there were times where I used to post a song a day every day onto my socials. And then, I'd post one and then somebody would say to me, oh man, you can't just post that one. You got to post the song after that too. Or like, you got to play the whole thing. You can't just,
it's endless.
Yeah. You can't just, it's like Pringles. You can't just chomp on one of those bills.
These are the burdens that we carry. And let's hope to hell that our island has electricity.
Solar. It's solar.
See,
power.
This is what I love about you.
Listen, Gilligan's Island, man. The professor was making coconuts. I'll be crazy and just bang the coconuts together at some point. It's like, yep, I'm listening to the music right now, Joe.
Exactly. I can hear my head.
Yep, the boat's never coming.
This is what I love about you. Your ingenuity and innovation and fighting spirit.
Thanks. I think other people would use different words to just like delusional. But thank you.
Clinically insane.
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Why?
Before we wrap this up today, we've been talking a lot about Metallica. I do want to mention their charity. They have a charity called All Within My Hands. It's www.allwithinmyhands.org. And basically they focus on supporting education, fighting hunger, and creating sustainable communities. And they recently, like just before the Lane Stadium show here, donated $500,000 to World Kitchen. That's Chef Jose Andres' organization. And that money is going towards feeding Ukrainian families who have been displaced by Russian aggressors. So they're doing really important work, and you can make a donation to that cause. And out of all the places that are asking for money and you don't really know where that's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the metalhead in me, but if Metallica says that they're, going to give my money to where it counts, I actually kind of trust them to do it.
Same. I mean, they've always put their money where their mouth is. Always.
They closed Lane Stadium for 2 days to get everything inside, like pull up the trucks, and they made a donation to the school to cover the cost for all of that because they've never hosted a show there before. And so that was something that those 4 guys just really wanted to do. And they brought their friends out for it and the other bands because they've all got their connections with each other.
That's
and
awesome.
They all talk about community and being there for one another. And I'm like leaning over to my wife and I'm like, this is why I love metal so much, because at the end of the day, this is really about community. It's why you and I are like so hive mind and gel on all this stuff when we talk on the podcast and in real life too.
Yes.
It's everything I care about. So it's better than church.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
As the Rev would say, amen. Not like that. He'd do it better.
Can we put in some footage from the Blues Brothers, that scene where they're in the Baptist church and the guys are doing like really somersaults?
I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. We'll take this baby home. All right, my friend.
This is it. Well, that's our show, everyone. So until next time, the only card we need is the Ace of Spades. See ya.
Later. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Hard Volume Experience, and we sincerely hope you enjoyed the nerdery on display here.
I need to let you know that the music you heard is the sole property of the authors, musicians, publishers, and whomever else holds the copyright. We don't own these songs, and we are absolutely not profiting from this Music Appreciation Podcast in any way, shape, or form. We do it at our own expense because we love it.
The Hard Volume Experience theme, Caballero, was written and performed by Joe Natoli. Artwork and photography seen in this podcast is the property of whoever holds the copyright unless otherwise specified by us. Details are in the show notes. Folks, before we close, consider checking out St. Baldrick's Foundation online at stbaldricks.org. St. Baldrick's supports childhood cancer research. Because no hospital has a monopoly on good ideas, St. Baldrick's supports more childhood cancer research grants than any other charity. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.